detailed profit and loss statement, you'll see all these different expenses you're incurring. You'll see what your margin is, meaning are you charging enough and so forth. And you can play with the profit and loss statement and make tweaks to make sure or to find ways for your business to achieve permanent profitability.
Welcome along to the ABC Financial Intensive Shows. I'm your host, Chantal Broderick. This series is made up of 4 consecutive shows where one expert guest will present on one key topic each week for 4 weeks. During each show, you'll receive practical tips and actions to implement into your fitness business. Our focus topic for these shows is financial management, and our expert guest is Mike Michalowicz. Mike is the entrepreneur behind 3 multi-million-dollar companies and is the author of Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, and what BusinessWeek deemed the entrepreneur's cult classic, The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. Mike is a former small business columnist for the Wall Street Journal and regularly travels the globe as an entrepreneurial advocate. Over the next 4 shows, you're going to learn resources to improve your knowledge around financial management. You'll learn tips for improving cash flow in your business, strategies to reduce expenses, and how to stick to your New Year financial resolutions. I absolutely love these shows with Mike because there are lots of practical actions that you can implement right away from his advice. So let's not waste any time whatsoever. I'm really excited to welcome our special guest, Mike Michalowicz. Mike, thank you so much for being our expert guest for this intensive series.
It's a joy, an absolute joy to be here, Chantal.
Now, before we even get started today, I was having a little bit of a look online and I saw that you have now released 165 episodes of the Profit First podcast. That is like a lifetime in podcast world. Before we even dive into the intensive series, tell us a little bit about your show.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was that many, but we've been doing it for 3 years, about one a week. So that would make sense. We just passed our 3-year mark, so 163. And what we do is we explore every element of profitability, how to make it, how to keep it, how to sustain it. And what we do is we bring on guests that is in one of 3 categories, either an expert, they teach something about profitability, or someone that's had a great success story, so they've done something to become very, very profitable, or someone that's going through the challenges now. And those often are our most popular guests, people that are facing a real challenge, and we tackle on the phone things they can do to improve their business, make it profitable immediately.
Well, what I love about your show is it is easy to listen to. It's easy to relate to. You have great banter on there. So I encourage everyone to jump on and check out the Profit First podcast after you've listened to the intensive series, right? Which we're just about to jump into.
Agreed.
So, Mike, I thought let's start right at the very beginning. Can you take us through, let's say, 5 resources that will improve our knowledge around financial management?
Yeah, the first thing is, I hope it's okay to talk about Profit First. I definitely encourage you, the listeners, to check out Profit First, the book, simply because it talks about the envelope system. So Profit First is not the first time this concept has ever been used. This system's been around forever in personal finance. I'm just saying it applies to business. So Profit First is good, or if you prefer, you can read The Richest Man in Babylon. There's a lot of books out there about the envelope system. And what it teaches you is how to manage cash. The second resource is your accountant or bookkeeper. I would argue there are different resources and you should work with both. An accountant should be very strategic in reducing your tax liabilities. That's important, but more or as importantly, forward thinking. How are you going to drive profitability in your business for the next 3 months, 9 months, year, and so forth? That person should be looking strategically. But your bookkeeper plays a critical role because they're in the weeds with you every day. They're paying bills and so forth. And I think a lot of businesses get out of financial control by not knowing what's going on a daily basis. They have those subscriptions they're paying. They have different costs they're incurring. And individually, they're very small, $50 here, $12 there, $100 here. But collectively, they add up to be something significant. Your bookkeeper often is in there. And the reason the accountant and bookkeeper are so great is because they're not emotionally attached to your business. They can look at it much more strategically or much more tactically than you can because we're emotionally attached to our expenses. Another financial resource, hands down, is a balance sheet, profit, loss, and statement, and a cash flow statement. You got to understand what these statements are and have access to them so you can look at your business holistically and see how the money's flowing through your business. And the last resource for financial management is get someone who is a successful peer in your industry. I can't emphasize that enough. So many people look at just financial experts as a resource, but those people don't necessarily have expertise in what your industry's gone through. So if you're a gym owner, find someone that's a wildly successful gym owner that's very profitable. They will know more about the financial intricacies of your business than anyone else. These folks are mentors. And I'm always surprised how many people are willing to give back and help me out. Someone's already been there before me. So seek those people out.
They are fantastic recommendations, Mike. Thank you so much for that. And I have to agree with you because I read Profit First before we did our first interview, which was probably about 18 months ago now. And for me personally, it made such a big difference. And I implemented actions from your book straight away. And it's one of the reasons that we got you back today, because you just have so much fantastic information to share. So when you're going through those resources just then, you mentioned a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement. Can we dive into that a little bit deeper? Can you really get into the detail of explain to us what the difference is between those two?
Yeah, so I'll start off with the profit and loss statement. And I'll tell you one thing already in the title, there's a big issue I have with it. Whoever said that the loss part should be in there, I don't support that, because I think we mean that we see that as acceptable. Maybe we'll have a loss, maybe we'll have a profit. No. The intention of a business is to be sustainably profitable. So a profit and loss statement, while its intentions are good, I think its title's horrible. It should be called a profit statement. But that's just my own little bone I have to pick with that title. The profit and loss statement is a way to see how your business is achieving profitability or experiencing losses. So it starts at your top line revenue. How much do you make in sales to people? Then it subtracts out all the expenses you incur. And profit and loss statements can get pretty complex, but if you boil it down, it's simply income, money coming to you, money due to you, minus expenses, money you sent out to other people or you have payable to other people, and then the residual difference, what's left over. And the leftover indicates profit or loss. It's a great way to analyze how your business is doing and where you can make adjustments. A detailed profit and loss statement, you'll see all these different expenses you're incurring. You'll see what your margin is, meaning are you charging enough and so forth. And you can play with the profit and loss statement and make tweaks to make sure or to find ways for your business to achieve permanent profitability. Now, conversely, a balance sheet is basically the balance of cash. Where does the cash play out in your business? You have what's called assets and liabilities and owner's equity. Assets are things that you possess that are worth something. So gym equipment are assets. Cash in the bank is worth something. It's worth the cash in the bank. That's an asset. Liabilities are things you owe. Maybe you have a loan you took out. That's a liability. You have to pay for that. Maybe you have all these bills that have piled up. Those are liabilities. And then owner equity is the ownership or the money due to the owner for their investment to the business. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily they put money into the business to start it. It could be. If I gave my business $10,000 to get started so I could buy some equipment, there would be a $10,000 owner equity to make. But also I sweat in, meaning the more I work in the business, the more the business generates income and grows. I may elect for it to owe me a portion of that money, and my owner equity grows. Owner equity is the money that the business owes to you as the owner minus what you've taken out, the distributions. And a balance sheet actually balances out. So assets equals liabilities plus equity. And that's how a balance sheet works.
Mike, while you're on a roll of explaining things so well, help us understand EBITDA.
Yeah, EBITDA stands for, it's an acronym. It's EBITDA. It's earnings before income tax, depreciation, and amortization. It's a term basically that says after every liability you have, after everything you have to pay, here's how much money is left over. So it's basically your profitability. And it's a good way to see if your business is truly profitable. Some businesses will say, hey, we made some money this year. And then the tax bill comes and then there's no money left. And they say, well, we didn't make money, but we did make money. It's confusing. EBITDA is the true bottom line for a business. it's really what you've made that's left.
And you recommend, Mike, with understanding the EBITDA for our business, if we don't have a background in finance, if it's not something that comes naturally to us or that we've learnt previously, is that something that we can outsource to our bookkeeper or our accountant to do for us?
Heck, yes. Yes. So the stuff we're talking about is actually more complex for me than, I shouldn't say that it should be, but I have difficulty understanding. So I will pull out my balance sheet and my profit and loss statement and my cash flow statement, and I have a real difficult time understanding it. I'm an entrepreneur, just like I suspect everyone listening to this podcast. We're all entrepreneurs. And what that means is that we are very good typically at selling, at being an advocate for our brand and bringing about systems and delivering a product or service. But many of us are not numbers people. And that's okay. That's when you rely on these people. A bookkeeper is more often in the weeds, meaning they more often handle the daily transactions of your business. An accountant typically is more strategic or tax-oriented. Either one should be a great resource. And I'll tell you, anytime you have a question, go to them. Use them to be your guide in investigating things. I think bookkeepers and accountants, sadly, are underutilized for that ability.
Yeah, so there's absolutely no shame in going external and getting someone to give you a hand and give you some advice when it comes to the finances. I know that I always reach out when I need hands in that particular area. So Mike, this has been really valuable, just going through some definitions when it comes to our financial management. When we catch up next week, you're going to be sharing with us some tips on improving cash flow in our businesses. So between this week and next week, when it comes to homework for our listeners, we want to leave them with a few actions to do. I'm going to grabbing hold of a copy of Profit First on the top of their list when they're starting to understand how to manage their finances better. Are there any other actions that you would suggest that they do between now and next week's show?
Absolutely. Take that profit and loss statement from your business and print it out. I want to know your historical profitability. So write your P&L for what's called YTD, or year to date. But I also want to know for the prior full year. So we're recording this in 2017. What's your YTD to today? And what did you do in 2016? Now I want you to run that percentage of profit against your top line income. The profit on the bottom compared to the top line income, and come up with a percentage. That's the number we want to improve. We want to move that percentage up. And you can't improve your profitability until you know where your profitability are today. So there's your homework assignment.
Okay, you heard it here first. You guys need to go out and do those actions between now and next week. And Mike is going to be joining us in 1 week's time when we talk about improving cash flow in our business. Mike Michalowicz, thank you so much for joining us for the first episode.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Mike for joining us on the show. Now, I was still not 100% sure on that calculation that Mike just mentioned, so I asked him to break it down again. So here it is. He said, take your profit from 2017, divide it by your turnover for 2017, and that will reach you your profit percentage. So to make it super, super easy, I've written that in the show notes as well. So just go over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/intensives and you can see it on the screen there, or jump onto the homepage and click the intensive tab. Now, these shows just would not be possible without the support of our intensive show partner, ABC Financial. So here's a quick word from one of the team from ABC Financial.
Hi, this is Sarah Pellegrino from ABC Financial. If you have a club located in the Northeast, Ontario, Manitoba, or Saskatchewan, I would love to help you with your software and billing solutions. You can contact me via email at sarah.pellegrino@abcfinancial.com. That's sarah.pellegrino@abcfinancial.com.
Again, we'd like to say a super big thank you to our intensive partner. ABC Financial leads the health and fitness industry in software and payment processing solutions. If you want your business to thrive with the most advanced club management software, comprehensive payment processing, and customer service that is second to none, then choose ABC Financial. You can request a demo at www.abcfinancial.com. In addition to the audio podcast, you can also download a transcript of each of the intensive shows. Just go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, click on the tab at the top of the page called Intensives, and then scroll down and you can press the button that says access the transcription of this interview. It is that easy. So a really quick reminder of the action from this week's show. Mike said, print out your profit and loss statement, then calculate your profit for 2017 divided by your turnover for 2017, and that will give you your profit percentage. Thank you for joining me for episode 1 of the Financial Management Intensive shows. And don't forget to tune in next week when we chat about tips for improving cash flow in your business.